Ladies and gentlemen, it is a new day, and with that comes more gaming news, or leaks, or rumors, or who the hell knows for sure, right? But it's all very fun to go over, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get right into this video. Yeah, so a Pokemon Presents happened this morning. Did anything good come from that? You know, I record these videos a day in advance, so if I had to really guess, I would say no. A bunch of yapping, something to do with Pokemon Legends EA, something to do with some mobile games, probably something to do with some animated series and the mobile TCG game, and I think I've got it all figured out. So lucky for you, I have some exciting news and leaks and rumors, like really exciting stuff. Now stay tuned to the end of the video so you can learn how to win some eShop gift cards or a Switch 2. Before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep our amazing communities growing. And let's go ahead and get into this. So first, let's start with some Nintendo news coming from a company you may have heard of. They're kind of small, some might even say an indie company. Oh yeah, they're called Nintendo. Whoa, I bamboozled you there. Yeah, Nintendo gave us some information, I guess that's what you would call it, and it's for a new playtest. Now, if you remember, I want to say probably last year now, or the beginning of this year, Nintendo did a playtest, and we were all wondering what the hell it was going to be. And essentially, it felt like almost like a Minecraft type thing, but it has a social aspect to it, and it was really rough around the edges, and it was very confusing. Now, if I remember correctly, there was like an ESRB rating, as well as something else that was pointing towards it being something you would eventually have to pay for. I don't really know how I feel about that yet, because some of the stuff that Nintendo has made us pay for recently and coming up, I feel like should be free, like the Welcome Tour and the wheelchair basketball game. But we'll see how this plays out. But there is a new playtest. The day I'm recording this video was the day you were supposed to sign up for it. I didn't sign up for it last time, and I didn't sign up for it this time. I'm sure it would be cool to mess around with, but honestly, any news that comes from it, I will just find out from other people or from, articles and stuff like that. But it is interesting to see how this will all play out. And if I had to guess, this would probably be something that's exclusive for the Switch 2, the same way the Welcome Tour is, and wheelchair basketball. Sorry, every time I say a wheelchair basketball, it makes me laugh. I know it has a name, but I really, truly do not give a shit about it. I think they're going to give us a demo for the game, so that's how I'm going to play it. I'm not going to buy it. This playtest game, or whatever it is, seems like it's in that same category. So we'll see. I think this starts maybe in August, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we should have some information coming up pretty soon about this. Now, speaking about the Welcome Tour, I have not played it. Morally, I cannot spend $10 on something that is not worth $10. I just cannot do it. If it ever goes on sale for like $2 or $3, I'll probably buy it then. But I have no problem never playing this a day in my life. I really do not care that much. But some valuable information came from the Welcome Tour, and it truly is some incredible news. So I just read this article, and it is coming from the Digital Foundry podcast. During a recent episode of Digital Foundry podcast, crew member Oliver McKenzie shared new insights into how Nintendo Switch 2 may handle dynamic resolution scaling and future titles, revealing that the system's rendering behavior can change based on connected display resolution. This behavior was observed in the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour tech demo. According to McKenzie, Welcome Tour dynamically adjusts its internal rendering resolution depending on the resolution of the output display. For instance, if the system is connected to a 4K display, the game internally renders at 720p and upscales to 4K. However, if the display is set to 1080p, the same demo only renders at 360p before scaling up. Similarly, when connected to a 720 display, the game drops its internal resolution down to 240p. This suggests that the software and potentially the Nintendo Switch 2's operating system has built-in logic to detect the resolution of the connected display and adjust rendering resolution accordingly. Unlike most consoles which tend to lock rendering resolution based on performance profiles rather than display output, this behavior on Nintendo's new console indicates system-level considerations geared potentially toward power efficiency. Future Nintendo Switch 2 titles may be able to adapt more intelligently depending on whether they're being played handheld, docked to a 1080p display, or connected to a 4K TV through this sort of DRS setup. And then on top of this, we just learned that the Switch 2 dock does in fact support VRR. A bunch of YouTubers, even Spawnwave I believe, did it. They're connecting like a Steam Deck to the dock somehow and realizing that it has VRR, but Nintendo just has not enabled it yet. All of this makes me think the Switch 2 has some surprises. Maybe they haven't worked it all out yet, or maybe it's coming in a firmware update. It just seems like the Switch 2 really is more impressive than we initially thought, right? Now we have two massive leaks to go over in this video. One of them I missed somehow yesterday, and it was talking about what I was talking about yesterday. A huge game franchise from Nintendo showing up very soon. Hopefully in the rumored direct this week, right? And the game I was talking about yesterday was Fire Emblem. I talked about how I've seen a million patents for it recently. I think it would be the perfect mouse control game. We had Nash Weedle saying something, but we also have this update right here, and this is like the icing on the cake with the cherry on top of the icing. A LinkedIn page of a 3D character modeler mentions work on a sequel to a Nintendo SRPG, which is a strategy role-playing game coming exclusive for the Switch 2. The only strategy role-playing game Nintendo has that's a franchise is Fire Emblem. It's like, how did I miss this? This makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? Like, this is everything that we've been seeing lining up, and I think we're going to see this week. I truly do. I know it's like, is there a Nintendo Direct? Is there not? Because, I mean, every time we think there's one, all signs point to one. It's never there. What do they do though? Do they just do the standard Fire Emblem, you know, like Fire Emblem Engage? Do they go back to the three houses aspect where, I mean, there's so many different options and you can play the game multiple times? Right here in the LinkedIn profile, it says exclusively for the Switch 2. So that makes me think they're going to lean more heavy on the mouse controls because this is not something that's going to be on the Switch as well. And I think I would be okay with that. Yes, I have not used mouse controls pretty much at all. I've played around with it a little bit in Donkey Kong Bonanza, and that's it. You know, I have not used it that much, but I don't think I would really mind if they leaned heavy on the mouse controls, because I think it's just so cool that it's there, and if Nintendo does not take advantage of it and push that up, it's truly going to become a forgotten gimmick. So I would like for them to flesh it out some more or incentivize us to use it more. And Fire Emblem is just such a great series. It's a little underrated, like the people who played it rate it high, but I feel like strategy and tactical RPGs are a little bit harder to sell to people than a JRPG or an RPG, and those are already like kind of a niche genre, if you will. So this is very exciting, man. I just feel like all of this is pointing towards a Fire Emblem announcement soon. Sure, Nintendo can do it on the Nintendo Today app or just on Twitter or something, but I really feel like there's a Nintendo Direct coming very soon. Now we're about to go over something very crazy that I even made a whole video about, right? I made a whole video about how I believe there is a Switch 2 OLED that is white. If I can go off my memory quickly, number one, when I think their name was Next Handheld, they were the person leaking the Switch 2 before it came out, and we know everything they leaked was accurate, right? They had their hands on the Joy-Cons, had their hands on the screen like 2 months before it came out, and we know that was 100% true. They said they also had a white model wherever factory they were in or wherever they were at. Then if you go back like 6 months before that, we had people leaking again from a factory saying that the console is just called a Switch 2. It has the logo on the back, and I believe they said they had black Joy-Cons and white Joy-Cons at whatever manufacturing place there was. Then if we go back to that woman from China who 3D printed the Switch 2, like right when it was first leaking out, like I can't remember what it was, like blueprints or something had leaked out. Then they 3D printed it right away, and she was saying that they had all the specs for it and all the details like months in advance. They were just waiting for somebody else to leak it before they did. And she even made hers with white Joy-Cons. So in my mind, there's no doubt there's 100% going to be a white Switch 2. And if I had to guess, that is going to be the OLED model. They're probably waiting for the Switch 1 OLED to phase out to where there's no more on shelves. And, you know, it's just easy to not get them mixed up. With the Switch 2, you have black Joy-Cons, and the Switch 1, red and blue. So it's not hard to get those mixed up. But if you had a Switch 2 with white Joy-Cons and a Switch 1 with white Joy-Cons, the boxes are pretty similar. I know there's a 2, but there could be some confusion somewhere just to play devil's advocate. A seller on a Chinese secondhand marketplace, Goofish, is listing what they claim to be a Nintendo Switch 2 OLED mid-frames. They appear to be identical mold to the regular Switch 2, but there are white and silver painted variants. I have no way to verify this claim, but they have a few other things such as a blank PlayStation 5 PCBs and test cartridges that you can only reasonably get from a factory. These mid-frames appear to be identical to retail Switch 2 mid-frames, apart from some lettering that appears on the side of these OLED mid-frames. All the ones I have seen also carry manufacturer year 2024. At the minimum, this means we'll get some new colors, which is normal and not much of a leak. However, if these are indeed for a Switch 2 OLED, it is possible the console will arrive much sooner than the OLED variant of the original Switch, and Nintendo considers the design of the Switch 2 to be a final, good design that could carry over to the Switch 2 variant of the OLED basically. So with the Switch to the Switch OLED, I think the screen was just a little bit bigger, but for the most part the same design. If we get a Switch 2 OLED, it's going to look exactly like the Switch 2, just with an OLED screen and different color Joy-Cons. Because they really can't make the screen any bigger. I mean, I hope they would not do that. 8 inches is a perfect size. So this is something I truly think will happen. And I've been saying from the start, since I thought this was a thing, that I think it's going to arrive sooner than a Switch OLED did after the Switch came out. Now, something I don't even want to start to think about, but I'll throw it out there quickly. How expensive would this damn console be? Because the Switch 2 costs $450. I would say the Switch 2 OLED would be like $550, and they would make a $600 bundle with whatever game they choose, right? Maybe Mario Kart World again, which I really couldn't fault them for that because it's the perfect like bundle game. So yes, this is just some random leak, and there's no way to verify this, but it lines up with a million other things we've seen. So I think I can back this one, man. Like, my words don't really carry that much weight. I'm just a smaller YouTuber, but personally, I think this is legit. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. So in the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. Remember, every single Saturday, I give away multiple eShop gift cards because I truly love my community. This week, I'm going to give away the first Nintendo Switch 2 on a random live stream, and then more as the year goes on. Also, on Wednesday, I will be on the Nintendo Prime podcast, so catch your boy out there. Drop some comments down below, like and subscribe, follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep our community growing. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.